welcome to the Parent Podcast. Here we're in conversation with our parents during these challenging times. And today we welcome Farah, who's a long-standing parent here at Sunmarke School and a member of our Friends of Sunmarke School FOSS community. So welcome Farah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Mrs Bishop.
So you have children in year 10 and year 12, so both in key examination years. Mm-hmm. How are your children doing at the moment?
They're doing fine. I need to be honest, it's not the ideal examination period that we were looking for, but it's fine. We've been there, we had this experience of being online and studying through the screens, but it's not the worst, I would say, but It's not the ideal that we wished for.
And do your boys, because they're both boys, do they get up in the morning and do they sit at a desk? And
The honest truth is, for year 10, my son Sammy in year 10, he is more motivated. Mm-hmm. For my older one, it's either personality or it's the system that they in sixth form they used to, that they study on their own time, and it's just not that he sticks to the exact timing that he needs to be on the same routine, but he does his studying.
That's something that is hard for us as parents because you want your child to look engaged in front of the camera, etc. And it is important, particularly in these exam years, that they're joining those online lessons, that they're interacting with the teacher, and that they're taking the tasks away and completing the tasks and submitting them, because that's progress. But how we motivate our children in these situations is difficult times. It really, really is. We talked about what can we give children to work towards. So we can't really give them a mock paper and ask them to go away and do it and submit it, because this is a very high level digital age. Anything they don't know, I know that when I go to a quiz night and I don't know the answer, I can reach for my phone, and you can't do it. It's not a true representation. So what could we do to make sure that children are actually preparing for demonstrating their knowledge?
I still believe that they need to do kind of examination. I know online is really going to be challenging for both sides, the school and the examination board, but it's something that they will look after to study for. If they have that time from now all until the next examination window, which I believe it's in October, it's really hard to keep them on the full speed of studying, it's not going to be easy for us to push them and for them to be motivated.
And we're in a situation where we don't know if this is going to be over tomorrow, and we'll be back at school next week. So there's a little bit of, from all parties, from parents, from students, and from teachers, okay, let's just wait and see what happens. And I suppose what we're saying is, let's give them something maybe every week, or this is happening next week, where we do an online quiz, and it's marked out of 20, and it's live, which is we're more than capable of creating with the technologies and the applications that we have here. So children have got something to stay engaged about.
Comparing to the period before this online school studying, they were just full speed studying. So it's just, I don't want to see that they pull the brake and they say, okay, we still have time. So that's why I'm really into that, as you suggested as well, kind of examination. Any kind of weekly quiz will be doing the job, rather than just to make them slow down a bit on the process of studying and getting ready for the next exams.
The good news is, if we did come back to school a little bit earlier, because we're not doing actual exams, there will be more time for more mock exams. So it will have an upside if we do come back to school before the end of this term. Also, as well, I've had a lot of questions from year 12 parents, because you have the modular A-level examinations that are also not possible at the moment. I've had a lot of questions from parents saying, shall I take my child out of year 12, put them in an exam elsewhere, in another country? My advice to that would be, I wouldn't recommend it. And that is because they're out of sync with the rest of the class. They're out of sync with which units they're learning, what their focus is on that day. So say, for example, we had a year 12 class with 12 children in, and 6 of them went off and did the modular test and 6 of them didn't. Then then that teacher, when we come back in October, would be split in terms of their focus on that group, which is never ideal. So really, we don't want parents to take their children and do those modular tests. The response I've had from parents for that is, yes, but they'll have too many tests together. It's not as intense as parents think. And a lot of centres across the UK and across the world only put their children in for modular tests in year 13. What have you heard from parents about this?
I heard both the stories, but the minority, I would say, the people who are really thinking pulling the child out and putting him in a different environment to do the exam. They all going through it together. And even kids, they're giving ideas to each other that we are into this together. So it's not that, it's just not an examination. The sixth form experience, it's not that I'm going to do the exam, so I'm going to survive this. They all going through it together. They even comforting each other that it's going to be fine. We're going to go through it. Year 13 going to be fine. And I heard even from friends of my son that they helping, they supporting each other, let's say. So it's going to be fine. Next year is going to be okay. We have more time to study. So they helping each other. Of course, every family has its own journey. They have their own planning. But we quite good. I would say the majority of people, they thinking, waiting, and trusting that next year it's not going to be a disaster. It's going to be fine. We trust the school.
Yeah.
We trust the sixth form. We trust that you're not going to be really, I wouldn't say hard time, but it's not going to be hard for them as well.
It will be fine. It might not be the way they pictured it.
Yeah.
But it will still be more than manageable, given all the amazing teachers that we have here and the fantastic leadership that we have here, because it's a lot of experience within this school. Tell me about how you've been supported by the school so far during these last 4 weeks.
That's the thing, the difference between us and other schools, I would say. I'm hearing from friends, I'm hearing from family. You know, I'm a long member here in the school. And I have plenty of wide community that I'm in connection with. It's not the same for them. I can anytime ask the management, I can ask the leadership and ask them how it's going to be. And they would say it's going to be fine. I see human, I can talk to you guys. I can just have that connection.
Let's talk about your role as FOSS. So you hold like the WhatsApp groups and people come through you, questions for year 12, for example, the year 12 parents group. They'll often ask you a generic question that everybody wants the answer to, everyone in year 12. So talk about how the school supports you in terms of your role as a core FOSS member and the system that we have for that.
I would say that's what distinguishes us from other schools, or us as a parents also comparing to the other parents. We can get that knowledge firsthand from your side or from the leadership team. I can get the answer to the question from, say, Dr. Hopkins. So it's just very easy to access you comparing to the other schools that I know some parents are suffering to get even an email answer. So for us, no, we just get the answer and right on pass it to the parents. So it's a relief for them because it's not taking that long time to get the answer to their questions, and it's really helpful. I wouldn't say it's something that's every school is practicing it, but we have it, and we are lucky to have that kind of level of communication.
And thank you for that, because you filter a lot of those questions and stop a lot of the anxiety with the parents by the system that we have here, which is a system of trust, really, of trust in the leadership team, and I trust you and the rest of the core FOSS team in order to relay those messages to parents in these very challenging times.
Yeah. But you want to be that parent who is giving the relief to the other ones. Yeah. We've been there. In COVID, I was just not one of those parents, maybe. I was one who has lots of questions. So I was looking at somebody who can give me a piece of information. I can plan my own household. So it is now for me, it's the time to give back what I gained. and still on the same school with the same team of the leadership, it's make a big difference. We are one of the schools who have that community, which we can take and give back on the time that is needed. So yeah, I'm happy with what I'm doing at the moment.
And there is that's one of the downsides of this situation, and there are many downsides, but that loss of community, that loss of this is our place, this is where we come together and have the same sense of community and purpose. How are you ensuring that you still feel that sense of community for yourself?
Oh, we're still on. We're still planning. We are so optimistic. We are thinking like this is going to get over sometime. We're not sure about the timing, but it's going to come to a finish. But the thing that is going to stay is our community. So we still have plans. We still have plans as the moment that we're going back to school or we're going back to the new normal, we don't know. We're gonna be on. We're gonna just do our things. We're gonna run our events, and we are so optimistic that this is gonna happen sometime.
And with parents like you, I'm absolutely 100% sure that those events will happen. We'll be back 100% with our wonderful initiatives that FOSS run here at Sunmarke School, and really creating those outstanding enrichment opportunities for our children.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Farah, for your time today.
Thank you, Mrs Bishop, for having me, and hope to see you soon again in the school.
Thank you so much.